autism multidisciplinary works, as well as sleep, and we're very impressed and benefited a lot from his earlier talk at MZU webinar on sleep disorders. Thank you so much for that. And he is currently the head of the department. He is currently the head of the Department of Neuroscience at Shiraz University of Medical Sciences. He is a great contributor in the field of neurosciences internationally, with numerous publications and speeches. He is editor of 2 national and interdisciplinary journals, and currently he is the president of the Iranian Neuroscience Society, the FARS chapter. His neuroscience lab houses interdisciplinary studies of brain with passionate interest in neuro-leadership, how the brain potentials drive leadership behavior, and he has been a Dale Carnegie's alumnus since 2014. I'm going to read out, or I'm going to give, because there's a whole lot about, the resource person that we have here today. But because we want to hear him more about his talk and everything, so I'm going to only give you a few of his current appointments. Besides heading the Department of Neuroscience, Shiraz University of Medical Sciences, Shiraz, Iran, he is Vice Chancellor for Research and Technology Affairs, School of Advanced Medical Sciences and Technologies at the same university. He is board member, National Brain Mapping Laboratory, head Dana Brain Health Institute, member Academy of Health Sciences Cultural, Sacramento, California in the United States. We are extremely fortunate to have Dr. Mohamed Naghi today with us. He'll be speaking on the topic, Opportunities in Cognitive Neuromedicine, a Cell to Society Continuum. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much indeed, everybody. Thank you very much, my colleagues, professors. Actually, I am immensely pleased to be here. Let me say that. So yeah, this is a great pleasure for me that you have given me this chance to share with you some of the insights regarding something which is pretty much of a new concept. So my task today is to share with you something which is probably not well attended earlier, because we're all thinking about our main own domains of activities, and probably we're just dividing all disciplines with thick walls. But it turns out that today there is no thick wall to divide and separate all disciplines. There seems to be a very invisible line between disciplines. So disciplines are turning to be interdigiting, right? So when it comes to advanced technologies, over the past 10 years, we've seen a general concept which has started to emerge, and that is converging science and technology. So this is all about coming together, getting together to collaborate, to make a joint effort, and just to take the border away, to do the cross-border approaches and research and application. In some countries, my friends and respected attendees, and Professor Rao, all the panel, in some countries, that we're doing science for science, because we have wealth of budget, we have wealth of resources. We want to see how, for example, a mosquito sees the entire universe, for example, all right? So that is some very fundamental, very weird question, but we're doing top-notch, very extensive research just to answer this question. How does a mosquito see the world, all right? So it's good, but it's good for some wealthy first world countries that have all the resources on top of their fingers. So, and they have no issues in investing on such a kind of research. But when it comes to countries that they have limited resources and they are kind of not sufficiently served in many instances, like what we have in our communities, what we need to be more focused on is that we're going to do research for application, right? So it is not only research for science, for science, that is research or science for application. We're gonna we're just gonna derive some application out of this and putting that into practicality. So people are going to use that, right? And the third level is that, which is optimal. And that is something, regardless we're living in US or we're living in China or in Iran or in India, what all the people around the world were thinking of is that how they can bring science and application to the society, if you would say yes, right? So it's all about bringing science to the society. We shouldn't be only concerned about our laboratories. We shouldn't also only be concerned about our H index or publications or ISI, impact or whatever. It is good to get academic prestige, academic impact. That's fine, fair and fine. But what is even more important is that how we are going to make an impact by utilizing this science into the societal benefit, right? So for us as neuroscientists, we can do very, very fundamental, ultra structural, detailed research at labs, which is pretty valued and we're very good. All right, we can do research on neurotransmitters, our ion channels on synaptic level, on nanoscale in neuroscience. Yeah, we can answer very fundamental questions. But question is, so what? Are we going to translate this into a higher level, into more actionable layer? And that is translational neuroscience. And that's when you're going to translate the basic and fundamental findings in neuroscience into some benefits to the societal level, at the societal level. So how the people will live a better life by applying this insights from neuroscience and behavioral science in their life, their well-being, the quality of life. Question is, does our science bring value to the quality of life of people? Does our science bring wealth, welfare to our society? If it is the case, then we're in a good shape. Then we're in the right track. We're going to keep going. If it does not add any value to the quality of life of the people and our environment and our planet and ourselves, then something is not right. Okay, so we need to rethink the strategies we're doing. In general, when we're talking about medicine, we know that medicine is just divided into whole different disciplines: orthopedics, like pediatrics, internal medicine, geriatrics, or gynecology, and many different fields, right? And neurology and psychiatry. So most of the cases, when we think about the concept of medical practice, we think about treatment. So I have headache, I go to the doctor, and I get examined, and I get some tests. Then he makes a guess, and by that guess, he makes another guess, prescribing a medication. I'm taking that medication. Or we wait until the people will be afflicted with cancer, and then we go for therapies and therapies and therapies. So treatments, very expensive treatments, targeted therapy, immunotherapy, chemotherapy, and so on and so forth. But we have been less focused on preventive medicine and on predictive medicine, right? So in a whole concept, in a sense, we have an approach in modern medical practice, which is, and in normal modern science, which is called P4 medicine. The P4 medicine refers to predictive medicine, the first P. The second P is preventive medicine. The third P is a precision medicine, or exactly everyone deserves to undergo a personified, a very personalized medical approach to get diagnosed with either a single problem or a combination of issues. So personalized, it's not a shirt which is one size fitting all. So we need to have a very personalized approach to make sure that what exactly has affected a given person. And the last P is participatory medicine. So sometimes we're asking the people coming to our doors as patients or people who are seeking our advice. We ask them, okay, sir, man, what do you think? What is your idea about that? And they'll become astonished because they do not expect to hear that from you. They'll say, why are you asking me? What is it? You are a doctor and you know everything, and you say what I need to do, and then I follow you. So when we ask them about their point of view, they will just be shocked because they do not expect receiving that. But this is true. We need to go for participatory medicine because each person needs to play a role in his treatment and approach. Number one. So we got the first thing I just wanted to share with you is the concept and the doctrine school of thought regarding the P4 medicine: predictive medicine, preventive medicine, personalized medicine, and participatory medicine. One of these approaches in personalized medicine is cognitive medicine. All right. So when we're just combining the concept of cognitive medicine with neurology, that would turn into cognitive neuromedicine. So some of you may not have heard about that so far, but for some of us, it's pretty much of a new concept, but that's true. But we got to be thinking about how we're going to expand and extend this into higher actionable level at the societal level to bring value to the practice of neurology, to practice of psychiatry, or neurosurgery, or behavioral science, or psychology. All right. So it's cognitive medicine. How our brain and cognition would influence our heart, or respiratory system, or kidneys, or liver, or joints, or musculoskeletal system. How all different aspects of our bodily function, of our bodily health, are under influence of our cognitive aptitude, number one. Number two is that how different physical illnesses would affect our mental aptitude, would affect our cognitive aptitude, right? So it's like a two-way street. It's a top-down and bottom-up effect, body on mind and mind over body. Okay, so in many instances, when you have a patient with cancer and the person is hopeless, he does not have any structures, any motivational structures, then the patient would literally collapse. So by time, the immune system will collapse, sleep will not be like that, the hygiene, the personal physical health will be negatively affected. The person will just have a skew toward using some maladaptive motivational structures, like substance abuse, or will be going for alcohol abuse when they are anxious, or anxiety or depression. In some occasions, we're facing with the life of sedentary style. The people are sitting at their desk, not moving anywhere, and they have this, justification that we're locked down, so we're not moving. And I used to do sport, but nowadays I'm not doing any more sport. But that is absolutely something which is not necessarily right. So we need to move on. We need to be active. We need to have a good physical activity, diet health. We got to have a good brain and sleep health and vigilance, and also cognitive aptitude. We also need to have a good control over our emotions and or affective health in another sense. Also, we need to have a clear understanding about the fact that something like recreational substances or alcohol, they should be off the table. So for many instances, people are not following these ABCs because although they are common sense, but we all know that common sense sometimes is very uncommon, all right? So it's all about the cognitive neuromedicine concept, how we're going to integrate the cognitive science, neuroscience with medicine, and vice versa, right? How medicine is going to be, kind of combined and kind of emerged with the context of neurocognitive medicine, neurocognitive science, and also neuroscience. So it's about cell, because we have neural cells, and then we have what? We have the connection between two neurons that will be through the synapses. So we have neurons and we have neural synapses. Then we have neural circuits. Then we have neural networks. Then we have neural systems. And then we have the lobes of the brain. And then we have the whole brain, which is an asset between our ears, right? So this is something that everyone needs to cherish, because we have not explored the full potential of our brain. So we got to unravel and we got to unleash our potential regarding the cognitive aptitude that everyone would have. So if we're going to change the world, if we're going to change the society, we need to change the people, right? If we want to change the people, which are members of the families, all right, the families and the people, if we want to change the people, it's not the people right here, the people are there. So we need to change their brains. So it's all about changing the people's brains. If we've got to change the brain of the people, then we need to change the neural systems and then neural networks, because we all know that we have more than 12 larger scale brain networks. So to modulate these brain networks, there's a path towards it. And to change the neural networks, we got to change the neural circuits. To change the neural circuits, we got to alter the synaptic dynamics. And for the synaptic dynamic parameters, we got to do some changes into the genetics into the protein makeup of the cells, of the neurons in the brain, into the nucleus, into the genetic makeup of every cell, into the base pairs, into the, so it goes very, very molecular and ultra structural. So when we think about this, it is going narrowed down into the atoms and into the nanoscale level. So it's very, very minuscule thing. And we're talking about atoms. We're talking about electron and proton. We're talking about the whole universe. So there's a whole universe between our ears, and we see the whole universe through our eyes, all right? So this is something quite interesting to tap into. And that's what I just wanted to point out regarding the whole concept from cell to society. So how we're going to do this. This is not our initiative. This is not our invention. It's been in place for like 20 years. The concept of cell to society has been something that the US coalition in different states started to bring up the idea with when it was like 2010. The first thing was about the convergent technologies. So they were thinking about some technologies that they are in the top-notch level, high-end complexity and sophistication, but they are great themselves alone, but they would be even more applicable when we're going to converge them. And through this convergence, we're going to serve the society at the end of the day, right? So the common pathway for this convergence is the society, is you, it's all about us. And that it is abbreviated into NBIC or NBIC, which stands for, I'm sorry, do you have my voice?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
connected?
we can hear you, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm sorry, just my phone rang off, so I just need to turn it on. Maybe I'm sorry. I know. Okay. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, so perfect. Sorry for that. So we're talking about the dynamics between the interrelation between the four main family of scientific inputs. Okay, four main super family of school of thoughts, right? And they are nanotechnology, which is talking about atoms at nanoscale, right? We're talking about biotechnology as the other domain, which is also very important, talks about genes. Also, we have the IT, information technology, which is very, very critical. I know that the IT guys are doing a great job in India and everywhere, but Indians are different, I know that. So IT is on top of the game. So when the IT people are doing the big data management and they are doing the computational models and everything, okay, and using the computer and the modern top-notch technology into action, that is something different. So IT. So we have nano, we have bio, we have info, which is information technology, and we have cognitive science, or cogno, which is C, all right? So that's nano, bio, info, cogno paradigm. So we're talking about a paradigm which goes hand in hand with the whole concept of converging technologies. So, but based on this converging new technologies and core transformational tools, US and Europe, the West, started to develop since 2001. They started to develop, since 2004. They started to develop some illustrations of research and educational programs over the concept of NBIC. And they had the global governance through the National Institute of Health. And they started to bring lie down some policies and innovation management for societal benefit. And then the international endeavors started to emerge for the transforming tools of NBIC. So these are the things that we're going to very slightly tap into as we move throughout the communication today. So convergence is the process of coming together. So the achievement of the reciprocal compatibility and also synergism between different disciplines and technologies. All right. I know that at a university like Mizoram, you have different technologies, you have different labs and departments. You're using high-end or usual technologies in place, but have them necessarily been collaborated, have them been converged together for even a higher level of objectives. So from atoms to genes to neurons and to bits of information, because when we're talking about the byte, we're discussing 8 bits of information, which is forming a byte. And then we have the kilobyte, and then we have the megabyte, and then we have the gigabyte and terabyte, all right? So the bit is the smallest unit for accounting the information into action, okay? So the bits, genes, atoms, and neurons. So these are the 4 main building blocks of the whole universe, if you would confirm probably. And so what are them for? If they are not going to serve Mohammed, if it's not going to serve Professor Laudit, if they are not going to serve Professor Kumar, if they are not going to serve Professor Rao, and every single one of us, what is that for? It is pointless. So it should be for the benefit of the society, okay? So the Russians started to enter the game, and by 2010, they added S and E to NBIG paradigm. So it used to be NBIG, but that turned out to be changed to NBIGS plus E. S stands for society or sociology, and E stands for ecology, or the ecology, all right? So we also got to be thinking about our planet. We also need to be cautious about the health and well-being of our people, of our communities, of our society. So NBIG plus S plus E, that's the paradigm. So National Science Foundation and other societies around the Western governments started to build on that and started to bank on it. So they have the bio and its resources, they have the nano and info and cogno, and they start to form this general concept into into a materialized based, and by that they started to take that into a next actionable level. So that refers to biotechnology and nanotechnology, IT, and cognitive science. So in cognitive science, which has been very close to my heart for the past 15 years, our focus has been leading new technology-based approaches using computer science in psychology, neuroscience, in clinical approaches in neurology and psychiatry, and clinical psychology. Also, it is extended into philosophy, anthropology, economics, and sociology, and so on and so forth. That's pretty vast, right? So when we're discussing the meaning of NBIGs, we need to touch on, let me do this right now. We need to touch on the basis on the unity of nature at the nanoscale. Also, the unification of science. There is no boundary, there is no limitation, there is no border. And these are accelerated when we're thinking and when we're striving to enhance the human potential as possible. So that's all about the quality of life, and that's all about making the world a better place to live, because we concern about ourselves first, and we have learned that we've got to be concerned about the others. And the more we are happy, the more we'll make the other people become happy and more, in a better shape of welfare. So what are the drivers for this nanobio infocogno approach? There's a pull and there's a push. You have my voice? Am I connected?
Yes, we can hear you.
Have me?
Yes, yes.
Because my phone goes off, so I don't know if it is disconnected or not. But thank you for confirming. So
No,
yeah, we have the cognitive
presentation
needs.
is very clear. Yeah, there is no problem.
Okay, good. So we have the cognitive needs, we have the biophysical needs, we have the physical hardware-based, supply, and also we have the heuristic software-based supply. So it refers to the human level, communication level, societal level, or the virtual integration. So putting them together, the human technology interaction is something which has started to emerge for the past 2 to 4 decades. So the advancement that we have made in cognitive science and all different aspects of advanced sciences and technologies over the past 4 decades, they are equal to the whole history, okay? So the rate of progress that science has made over recently has been fundamental, has been very, very phenomenal, all right? So this is all about converging technologies to enable human to live a better life, full stop, okay? And by that, we got to develop the global technology system. We have different university, different scientific, platforms. Also, we are thinking about different aspects of, science in a whole universal perspective. Geoengineering, astronomy, space exploration, climate management. So what are they for? They are there for global communication. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any point in it, right? They are there to make us interact in a better way. Thanks to the internet that I'm seeing you, you're seeing us. Okay, that's great. So this is the technology that we're currently applying to get and stay connected. That's for economy. Because if I was not able to pay for the Zoom, I was not able to get access to the Zoom, and the Zoom was going to excuse not to be able to provide me services anymore. So that's economy, right? So and that's values, all right? So put them all together, what we're trying to materialize and to capitalize on is to use the technology to reinforce our values. Is that something which makes sense? Okay. And also we have the nanotech, we have the biotech, infotech, cognotech, and also we have the system-based technology. It's all about the complex systems that they are helping us to have a better understanding about the interconnection between all different layers of scientific approaches and discoveries that they are going to converge into a synergized manner to help the people to get a better health, better economy, better place to live, and all different things. So the integration of the MBICs would be multifaceted. We're using the concurrence of capacities and capabilities together. We assemble the atoms to make new molecules, to make the new objects, matter science. So we have the matter science, right? So we have all different engineering disciplines at schools, and they are using material science to develop new molecules, to create new stuff. We have molecular assembling for nano manufacturing. Also, we got the modern biology and nanomedicine. See, we have nanomedicine, we have neuromedicine, all right? So these are, and also we have medical informatics. And also we have like personalized medicine, which is genetics, right? So these are very, very interesting to have a better look at. IT and cyber infrastructure, thanks to IT. For brain and mind and neuroscience, transdisciplinary concepts and methods, and other converging technology, putting them all together, we're going to make an interaction and integration of the MBICS paradigm to pursue our goals. This is convergence. And the NSF started to come up with the convergent technologies, objectives, and goals, and sustainable goals. So they started to bring up the idea and hypothesis that from 2010 to 2030, we need to come up with new frontiers in science to develop, to raise the bar and to develop some new goals for the whole humanity and the welfare of the people and all the creatures that they are living in the whole universe. So to better the planet, to make the planet a better place to survive and live, right? So they've been using many other different technologies, ranging from robotics or to engineered molecular design, and guided hierarchical self-assembling technologies. It's been evolutionary and it's been guided assembling. And also they have been using different sensorial systems, reconfigurable systems, and biomimetics, and all different things. So, for example, this is something which has been a convergence of technology in my hand. I'm using this because that's physics, that's chemistry, that's IT, that's the biology, that also encompasses many different things, because sometimes we have the hybrid cognition, we have the hybrid intelligence. If I forget to take my phone with me today, it seems like I have lost a partition in my brain. So a chunk of information that I've ever accessed to has been lost today. So I just, get exhausted about that. So it's because this has been embodied as a part of my cognition. So part of my wisdom, part of my mind and cognition has been dependent to this emerging technology. So new careers, vocational possibilities for the nano machines, human potential, extending human potentials. Can we create some soldiers that they can do better in the battlefield with no need to sleep or eat a heavy diet? All right, so they are very, very agile people. Can we make even more stronger and more, capable leaders or managers, CEOs? How about the university professors? Can they be, empowered or level up in terms of their communication skills, in terms of their capacity in doing research and science, the spread of science? Can we develop, can we emerge neuroscience integrate neuroscience into economy, into marketing, into art? Yeah, we do. We have neuro art, we have neuromarketing, we have neuro leadership, we have neuroeconomy, we have neuro entrepreneurship, we have neuro technology, we have neuromedicine, right? And we have neuroeducation. So are we going to be able somewhere in the near future to use some technologies that our learning capacity will be doubled, will be tripled, 10 times more even? And how far we can go? How ethical is that? How good is good? So these are something that we also need to tap into in terms of the neuroethics or neurophilosophy, because we're not going to create, extraordinary, some kind of, very scary new versions of human that they're going to, to destroy the world and everything. So we need to be very, very cautious. If I'm going to download your mind and all the content of your cognitive processing at a drop of head with using a smart technology that is going to be in the market next 30 years, I'm going to tap on a button, and the whole ideas and your thoughts, your emotions, your secrets, they'll be uploaded to my mind. And I already downloaded that. So what is the position of privacy here? What is the ethics? And what is the role of human privacy and human intimacy, right? These are something very important. So we need to be quite cautious how far we got to be going. And for regenerative medicine, the NSF and also the European Community for Advanced and Converging Technologies, which was later developed by Dr. Rocco. Dr. Mikhail Rocco, he started to develop the idea of CKTS. And he said, look, Americans, I know, and Russians, I know that you guys have developed NBIX plus E, but let us develop something even more applicable. And that is CKTS. That's the European version of NBIC, of the American NBIC. They said that we're going to develop CKTS, which stands for Converging Knowledge and Technology for the Benefit of the Society. Okay, so that's CKTS, or Converging Knowledge and Technology for the Benefit of the Society. And they have been working on different working teams. And in US, they started to collaborate. The CKTS and NBIC started to collaborate since 2010. And in NIH, in FDA, in NASA, in NSF, and all different authorities in the whole Europe, even the UN, because we're working with a team in the UN, and they have SDG plans. So they have 17 pillars for sustainable developmental goals at the United Nations level. Okay, and the goal 3 and 17 are something that we are more focused on, and we're working with them in Geneva. We're a group of, I'm going to tap into it a little later, a while later, and that's the group of people that we have fortunately be a part of. And we're forming IHB, or inclusive brain health, IBH, inclusive brain health. And that is something that we're recently come out with. And I'm very open to share that with you. I'm very pleased to receive your insights, your wisdom on this kind of things that we can do together, because we all know that no one is perfect. We got to be doing things together to make new frontiers of advancement. Okay. So the brain-machine interface, the Pentagon has been using this. The Russian army has been using this. They have army neuroscientists. And in China, they've been doing this. In India, I don't know. But in Iran, they have recently started to think of using, brain-machine interface to enhance and to empower human performance. So, and also metabolic engineering, how we can control the metabolism in cells and organs, how we can control the performance of the military personnel, of the soldiers, of the commanders. Okay, for exoskeletons, someone in US is wearing the exoskeleton, a soldier, and is acting out the exact, army performance or defense performance. And in Afghanistan, a robot is receiving signals from that guy who is in New Jersey, and it's just mimicking the exact movement that he's doing, but he's doing there in US, and the robotic soldier is doing the same in Afghanistan or in anywhere else in a remote area. And the precision for targeting is very, very high. So the risk of error is literally approaching zero, because that's the computer which decides which target to hit. And we're staying away from the human errors, okay? So it's a super army, it's a super soldier idea. Also, they start to use the technologies towards the continuous assisted performance, and how they can survive and how they can, sustainably perform unless they have been faced with sleep deprivation. These are something interesting, all right? And sleep deprivation is something that I've always been interested to do more research on. And we have quantum information science, we have eco-biocomplexity paradigms, also neuromorphic engineering. Can we someday develop an artificial brain? Literally, this is a very, very tantalizing question to answer. But hypothetically, that would be possible. But we don't know if that is going to be actionable or not, because to date we have developed artificial retina. So for the people who are legally blind, I got a paper which has been on using the technology developed by an American company, which is Second Sight, and they have developed the very tiny, nanoscale microelectrode chip, which is implanted into the back of the eye, the retina. So by that, and there is a camera here, so there is no need for eye anymore, because the camera will transmit the image into that microelectrode, and the microelectrode will induce the excitation in the retinal ganglion cells, and the retinal ganglion cells will get excited. The action potentials will be there, and the brain will receive the whole signals. But we got to be doing something on the brain, because we do not see with our eyes, we see with our brain. We do not hear with our ears, we hear with our brain, right? It's all about the brain, if you say yes. Okay, I don't know to what extent you would agree with that, but we're nothing but the communication between our neurons. So when this communication is there, we are there, okay? And the cyber-physical STEM, so IT, nanotechnology, biotechnology, other systems, synthetic biology, bio-nano, IT, neuroscience. So it has been a great effort in place for the past several years to converge new technologies, expanding human cognition and communication, and about the health, improving human health and physical capabilities, enhancing societal outcomes, new products and services, personal and national security, and unifying science and education. These are huge. So for example, at a school that I'm working, and perhaps you have the same concept there, we have some majors and we have some courses, some academics at our school. We have PhD programs for nanotechnology, for neuroscience, for information technology and its application in medicine, okay, or bioinformatics. We have for reproductive biomedicine. We also have for tissue engineering and cell therapy. okay? And we have courses for biotechnology. So these 6 courses are under one roof, and that is the School of Advanced Technologies that I'm just functioning as a vice chancellor for research affairs there. So we got people, we got brilliant minds from different disciplines, and they are coming together, they are adding up, and they are synergizing to make things work better. So each of them work on different aspects. Some of them are molecular oriented, some of them are cell oriented, some of them are organ oriented, and some of them are putting them into a higher contextual level, which is like treating a disease or a disease condition. For example, finding new therapies or approaches towards treating cancer, or for cognitive assistive devices. What will happen if we have the capacity to prevent or to treat Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's disease, depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism? I've been discussing with Professor Kumar a while ago regarding the significance of autism and neurodevelopmental delays, all right? There are huge potentials to tap into, but we still, it appears that we still are concerned about our disciplines. We are thinking about borders. So let's overcome the borders. Let's come together. And if we're going to team up, then we'll develop new horizons. We'll develop new ways of thinking. Non-invasive and invasive diagnostic for rapid patient monitoring, joint replacement, many different things, organ transplants and everything. This is the device that I've been talking about. It's an artificial retina. It's a device which is called Argus-2, ARGUS-2. And we have implanted 6-7 patients here in Iran, and we've started to rehabilitate their visual function by doing some exercises on their optical performance and also their neural connectivity at the back of the brain, which is the occipital cortex, and also the whole visual cortex, because visual cortex is something very sophisticated. And I've provided a TED talk, but unfortunately that's in local language. It's a TEDx talk, and we have highlighted all the different achievements that a team of 15 experts have come up with. And I've been a very, minimal. I had a minimal role in that. So, but I was, representing the whole team, and I gave the lecture. I gave the TEDx talk. Maybe someday I'll come up with the subtitle in English, and I will share it with you if you would be interested. So yeah, these are the various prostheses, like for visual prosthesis, for audio prosthesis, for smelling, for tactile, for nerves and other capacities. We have the artificial retina, and the artificial retina is going to be extended into something that we do not even need the retina. If you only stimulate the visual cortex, then the people start to experience some visual percepts, all right? And because they're legally blind, right? So there have been cases with metanol toxicity or traumatic optic retinopathy, or they might be having neuropathy of the optic nerve and also the retinal cells. They might be having a retinitis pigmentosa. They might be having hypoxic encephalopathy. They might be having cerebral visual impairment, and so on and so forth. This is just an example, but it's a new horizon. Now, the company, the second site in US, and also another company which is in Southern California, they started to develop like an updated version of this neurostimulation to enable the people to see things although they are blind, and that's called Orion, ORION. This Orion chipset is going to be implanted into the cortex, and then instead of stimulating the retina, we're directly stimulating the cortex. So the blind person start to have the scotoma and start to have the scintillating scotomas and visual percepts. And by time, visual rehabilitation would enable them to see the whole thing in a different way. All right. Isn't that just exciting? So we need to think about the new potentials in front of us. Active implants in cardiology, in respiratory medicine, in nephrology, in physical medicine and rehabilitation, many other things. I have like 5 minutes to conclude, and then I'll be tackling your questions if you have, all right? So my friends and my colleagues and professors, what I've been trying to touch on perhaps was something common sense. So we're just thinking, these are clear. We already have known all this stuff. We've been doing this already. But question is, have we been really concerned about this emergence and convergence? Have we been really utilizing the tools of convergence? So I had this since like 20 years back, and we've been doing shared efforts to make this a reality. If the cognitive scientists can think it, the nano people can build it, the bio people can implement it, and the IT people can monitor and control it. So just think about it. We're talking about the four main elements of the whole universe: the bits, the atoms, the gene, and the neuron, which are representing information technology, nanotechnology, biotechnology, and neuroscience, cognitive science, respectively. Okay, and they're going to build the blocks. They're going to be the building blocks for the 21st century. In as much as we have a whole new concept, which has been published in a journal of BMC Psychiatry a couple of years back, and the title of the paper, which I recommend you to have a look at, is Cognitive Medicine. So it's a new approach to the healthcare science, mental health care science. And we're approaching the different aspects and perspectives like work life, aging, early life, diseases. We are talking about the cultural, like the cross-cultural differences, cognitive impairments, disabilities, and the economical burden and the societal burden that disabilities of mental health ailments is going to put on the society. Just let's take a look at it. This is what I was referring at. So we're a group of people from US, from Geneva in Switzerland, and from Iran, and also other collaborators and consultants from Panama, from India. And please help us get a better sense of it as we move. It's called IBH, or Inclusive Brain Health. So we got a model for this IBH, and that is in close collaboration with Dr. Gareth at the UN SDG program, which is called the WHIS program, WHIS. It's the World Health Innovative Summit. It's a World Health Innovation Summit, WHIS, WHIS. So we're fortunate to be part of WHIS program. And by 30th August, I'm going to provide a talk, a webinar on the WHIS strategies in COVID era. So perhaps our colleagues and our friends there in Mizoram would be, and our respected colleagues and professors would be finding it interesting to join. So that'll be on 30th August, and I'm going to share the poster with Professor Rao, Sambasiva Rao, which is very kind to me. He's been a friend for the past like 2-3 months that we've been introduced to each other. I'm very pleased for it. So our inclusive brain health model at Swiss Alternative Medicine touches on this concept. I'll be more discussing about this in that lecture because that will be more focused on a model in IBH. But just wanted to say that it's an inclusive model. We're just putting together all different things like allostatic stress load, genetics, sleep and wakefulness, nutrition and physical activity from one side. Look at a triangle to central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous system from another side. Look at the circle, and it's a brain, and it's our internal representation of the outside world. It's composed of behavior, emotion, and cognition. And look at the inverse yellow triangle, and that embraces brain, body, and surrounding. Okay, so when we're integrating all these things together, we have three spaces. Space one, when we're not doing good, when we have behavioral predicaments. Space when we have behavioral predicaments and neurofunctional predicaments. Space two, when we have affective disorders. And space three, when we have cognitive problems. Okay, so these are interdigited, and they are very, very integrating together when we're discussing the main, the point of gravity. If you see the very center of this model as a point of gravity, that all different variables are coming into harmony, and the harmony is called space 4. So space 4 is the optimized neurofunctional state, and where we have a good cognitive and behavioral health. So coming back to cognitive medicine, think about cognitive medicine, and think about our brain. Think about the neurons. Let's discuss more about the genes, how they identify the function of the neurons. Let's consider atoms, molecules, and let's discuss bits of information. So if you guys think it, some other people will build it, some bio people would implement it, and we all certainly will strive to monitor and control it. And by this, I'm going to close and thank you very much for your patience and listening to the insights that I already shared with you. Hope that will be of your interest, and I will be very pleased to listen to your questions and definitely to hear about your comments and your advice on this. Appreciate that a lot.
So, thank you, Dr. Mohammed Nami, very much. It was a very beautiful talk. Basically, you had covered between, the convergence of technologies, which is basically the need of the hour. There is somewhere a missing link where the knowledge available to mankind, we are not able to connect to what you have been just mentioning. So you have very rightly pointed out the missing link, and then you have very beautifully explained why we need to now rethink or re-strategize the science. And very nicely you had emphasized the importance of genetics as well, because as we all know that genetics determines our lifetime health. And so it is now beautifully molded into different sciences and arts. So your point on multidisciplinary and the interdisciplinary approaches is very much important to for all the scientists throughout the world to come together and think. The disease models that you have explained and you have experimented with your own practice and clinics is also very interesting, very encouraging as well, yeah, for people to rethink. So field of cognitive medicine, I'm sure, like you mentioned in the last few slides, that needs, very nice moderation and looking into the different aspects. So very nice. We really enjoyed your talk. A very beautiful talk. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
I'm very glad to hear about that. But the more interesting point that you shared, so everybody would be fascinated when he's praised by another person in a positive way. And I was fascinated. Thank you for the kind words. Meanwhile, something which is even more important amongst the notions that you shared is that we need to do it together. All right. We got to collaborate. We got to synergize. So no one does everything in the best possible way. It's about us. It's not about Iran, Panama, US, India, Australia, Europe, okay? Yes. It's about us. It's about the citizens of the world. Yes. It's about being human people, and it's about being good human, all right? Correct. So when we're talking about, when you're concerned about the humanity, then we're going to use the maximal level of our potentials together. What is mine is yours, and what is yours is for the human. And we're going to share this together. So perhaps if someday we're going to see each other in person with everybody, I know that very great, brilliant minds are here. I know about that. So let's do that together. And with the guidance and leadership of Professor Simbasiva Rao and all the other great minds there, and through the help and wisdom that we receive from you, let's figure out, let's formulate, let's do it, how we can do it. I mean that the main takeaway from these kind of webinars is that how we can do it. So let's do it. Yes. I wouldn't be happy when someone just comes and says to me, that was a very good presentation. We really enjoyed your presentation. This is good. But when someone says we really enjoyed your presentation and nothing more, this means that I did not a good job. Okay. But when someone is coming to me and saying, hey, Mohammed, what you say made sense to me. I know what you said, and let's do it. How we can do it. This means that we're in the right path, all right? So let's do it, Professor Kumar. And I'll be very interested to receive your advice on it. Sure.
Sure, definitely. Sir, your mic is...
You're 100% correct, Mohammed. I have one suggestion also, because two different areas you can have a comparative studies on the brain behavior. Because Mizoram people are very soft, very much emotional than Iranians. Because I know Iranians students in Nagarjuna, where I was working earlier 3 years back in Nagarjuna University. We have more than 1,000 students from Iran. in different disciplines. 1,000 students are there in Iran, from Iran, in Nagarjuna University. Most of the students actually, they are very, very vibrant and sometimes very, very emotional and very erratic in driving and in behavior. But some students are very docile. That time I observed them because of the language problem. I observed many people in Nagarjuna because 3 years back, still we have a good number of sizable number of people in Nagarjuna. More than 500, 600 people are there from Iran. Because from originally where I was working earlier. But you have a comparative study with the Mizo people. They are very slow, that not emotional, not very speed. And so what is the basic difference between brain functioning and the various types of nervous system? Why don't you have an analysis with our psychology department and biotechnology and your school of medical school? Why don't you have a comparative analysis? So basic, there is a big difference because I am the both persons I have seen, Mizo people and also Iranian. So why don't you have a, because both the psychology process are.
I would certainly say this is a brilliant idea, and thank you very much for bringing that up. And I can positively express my feeling about this kind of concepts because we've already been doing something. We just need to do it cross-cultural. For your information, Professor Raul, we've been running a research project as a laughter neuroscience. So we've been showing the people some funny clips that they are 3+ positively funny, and they were 2+ funny, and they were 1+ funny, or they were neutral, okay? And we have been checking the threshold of the laughter or the smile of the people. So we were doing the face reading, we're doing the eye tracking where they exactly are looking, we're doing the brain imaging, all right, at the same time. And when they were at rest position or they were at the laughter, position or tasks. So by this, we're comparing what are the key areas of the brain that they are activated, they are lit up when someone laughs, and what are the key hotspots in the cortical areas of the brain that they are kind of implicated in the networks that they are having a role in generating or maintaining laughter. So why the Brazilian people? They laugh even easier than Iranians, than Indians. Why the American people, they are having this style of cognitive behavioral approaches? Why the Russian people have this? Okay, everyone in the world, regardless of the race, gender, and language, we are all citizens of the same planet, all right? Yes. Yet, there are cross-country differences, there are cross-cultural differences. And we have done this research with in a cross-comparison way with the University of ITMO in St. Petersburg in Russia. Also, we have done this with the Chinese Academy of Science in China, in Beijing. So it turns out that there are some differences, yeah. So people, they have a different thresholds for laughter. So if we find these areas, 1, 2, 3, question is, we got people with depression, with PTSD, with anxiety, with so on and so forth. If we stimulate these areas, these cortical hubs for the laughter behavior, would we potentially or theoretically be able to decrease the threshold for laughter? So can people laugh easier? Because some people, you tell them a joke, and it's a very funny joke, but they look at you and say it's not funny because they decide not to laugh, because they decide not to be happy. So happiness is a decision at some point. So we decide to be happy, all right? So this is kind of, psychoeducation. I don't know if anyone from the psychology department here can add to my notion and help us understand better.
Both Professor Pente and Varta, both are from psychology department.
Excellent. So we can do a lot together. So let's think about this cross-cultural differences, laughter and emotion control, like cognitive resilience. It's very important. Like cognitive emotion regulation, how that's different between the people. Psychologists know even better than me that how this is going to be materialized in actionable level. What do you think, professors?
Great. Yeah, I think that's a very big area that work can be done together, because there are a whole lot of cultural differences, I feel that, the central nervous system, like the brain itself is, although, you speak a lot about plasticity of the brain, but cultural brain-wise, I think, especially because I've worked in individualistic cultures and collectivistic cultures, here Mizo people are strongly collectivistic cultures, and like the Honorable Vice Chancellor had said, we are, our language is slow. Like we were talking about this particular topic last night with my friends. I hope some of them are here in this group also.
One point I want to add,
how slow.
Maybe I want to add one point here. Yeah. It is not because of the cultural difference, the people's emotions in Iranians and Mizo people. Mizo people are actually, they have their own specialized thinking. They are not really, they are loving, peace-loving people, and very, they don't quarrel with others. And most, as far as possible, I observed they're not going to quarrel with anyone. Whereas Iranians are, where I saw most of them students in Nagarjuna, they're always ready to fight. This is what actually my observation. For even small things also, they will get excited. They will get emotional. There is a big difference. So if you can able to study cognitive study or psychological study or physiological study, neurological study, what is the basic difference between the emotional functioning of the brain of Mizo people and emotional functioning of Iranian people? So both can be analyzed and do very well. No, it is a wonderful observation. It will be my feeling is.
We can do it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it
one more thing. One thing. Yes, respected Vice Chancellor was rightfully mentioning that, yes, we the Mizo, actually, I would say our thinking process is not slow, but however, our ability to tolerate and withhold our expression of emotion is rather very high.
Yes.
So that is what I would like to mention about the Mizo. And it would be really interesting if we can touch upon something like how anger, fear, joy, sadness, and many domains within emotion, if that can be touched, will really be interesting. Thank you so much.
My proposition is here, Professor Mohammed. You can select a group of people of a particular age range and take some parameters as criteria, both gender-wise, some group of people, maybe 50 or 100 people, and analyze parameters of same parameters both at Iran and both Mizo. So you can just have a...
I'm 100% with the idea. So what we can do is that we are going to select the population for a study, and then we're going to decide about the homogeneity of the population people we're going to target. So there are going to be college students, or I don't know, the lay population. I don't know. We will just think about that. What I would request you from you, Professor Rao, and rest of the panel is that please take the lead, and someone from your panel will take the lead from the Mizoram side, and I will help my associates here to be with you, and we're going to stay connected through email or communicate through the further sessions. We're going to design a study portfolio, and then we're going to have the tools and materials and methods, and also we'll be discussing more about the rationale for this, because one of the attendees, Mr. or Mrs. Abhas, said that it's better to...
I have one interruption, because many participants are there. First, let us answer their questions and we continue our discussion.
Sure. What I was saying, that one of the participants said that we got to be thinking about these things at a global level and not confine that to the specific restricted population. I agree with that, and I do not agree with that. I agree because that's in a global sense, we should be thinking globally, but we're living in our community. So we need to think globally and act locally, all right? So getting the insight from the global scale set of research and the ideas, and also putting the school of thoughts together, definitely we can have a better understanding about the whole subject. But at the end of the day, what matters is that our people, because we're staying living in our families, in our society, in our city, in our province, in our country, in our continent. And afterwards, we'll be responsible for the peoples in other continents.
You will find definitely
on the whole planet.
very good.
Exactly.
You will find very good observations. Definitely difference, because totally emotional difference is there.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
You will get definitely this, some.
So someone from there in Mizoram is going to take the lead.
Yes.
I'll be more than pleased, and I'll be very, very honored to help with that project. We'll discuss and we'll decide about the tools and about the funding sources and about the practicality, everything, and we'll run it.
So if I will just end this discussion. Maybe we can have one interaction, that is a panel interaction with some 5-6 people on a day, or tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, half an hour discussion or 1 hour discussion on this research collaboration. We can have a Senthil and psychology department, clinical psychology, all people can have a discussion with you, and we can formulate a collaborative project. I will do that very coordination, and you can have private discussion, because many participants are there. I don't want to.
Sure. So participants are everything. We know that, because this is them which matter. So I would be very pleased to tackle any important question that you have, and by that I'm going to leave the floor to you, and I will be available for any justifications or any doubts that you would have for the whole presentation that we shared today.
Go ahead with I think with interaction with participants.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, the Q&A is there.
Yeah. Dr. Nami, the first question. Now, Professor Varte is also with us now. He is also joining from home. Yeah. So the first question from Shekhar Chanda: can neurotest be used in organizational behavior in context of developing countries?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, because the leadership is not only for the developed countries. We all, as a part of the world, we're living in developing countries or underserved settings. But it doesn't mean that we do not need to empower. We do not have the chance or room to get even better. So we can get even better by applying and by using our resources in a wise way, in a wise manner. So if we are working hard, we get something. But if we're working wise, we get even more, right? So it's not about the muscles, it's about the brain. So when sometimes we're doing the organizational leadership or organizational culture and everything like that, if we're going to define a system design for proper leadership, people management, it's about how we're going to first manage ourselves in a better way. It's culture, right? So, and by maintaining the good culture, a proper culture, how we're going to influence the others. Because great people are not only great themselves, they influence other great people, all right? So it's about how potent we are at the level of influential impact that we have on the other people. And at the corporate level, at the organizational level, at the team building structures and stuff like that, how we can collaborate with the others that they are working with us in a whole brain-friendly way. And this is not only about the way that we interact, it's also about our own brain health, our own cognitive health, behavioral health, and bodily health, and a lifestyle. And we have something called brain health index. We do the brain check, do the brain checkup to make sure if someone who is eligible to take the position of a chief financial officer or a chief executive officer, is that a specific person a great fit for that position or not? It doesn't matter if that is in Australia or US, or that is in Netherlands, or that's in India or Iran. We got to put the best people in best places. So right people, right places. But many instances we see that we have wrong people, wrong places, because they have not been, screened first at the end of the day. Early on, they have not been interested in doing that. And they did not have the initiative. They did not have this passion to come into the work. Because they are not passionate, they cannot influence the other to be passionate. So It's not about Iran or India or Germany or Netherlands. It's about humanity. It's about wisdom, and it's about cognitive capacity. So my answer to your question is definitely yes, provided where exactly we need to go and what resources we have in hand and at what level we're going to take, because this is a ladder. I am in the step 1 and Professor Kumar is on step 6, all right? Professor Kumar will go to step 10, I'll go to step 2. So each person, each community, each setting at its available resources, they're going to get the best use out of it. And they're going to formulate how they're going to integrate neuro leadership, neuro entrepreneurship. Because another question I know that was, what is neuro entrepreneurship? It's how you make vocational possibilities for the people who are going to join the settings. How you're going to sacrifice your own at first place, and then to flourish the other people. But at the end of the day, you get flourished, because if you go high, you may drop down. But if you make the other people go high, they will push you go high and you wouldn't drop down, all right? So it's all about others. So when we are in love with ourselves and with all other creatures around the world, then we have the capacity for fostering the potential in others. So when you foster others' potentials, then you foster your potential. Then you have no way by going up, but getting flourished by, leveling up to a better state of functionality. It's all about others. It's all about you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nabi. Yeah. So same person, Professor Shekhar Chanda from Bangladesh. He has asked one general question: how has the Iranian economy benefited from investment in nanotechnology?
Well, nano people there in Iran have been doing a lot of great works over the past 10, 15 years. And, frankly speaking, they've been doing a great job in publishing papers. Okay. Some of them, many of them are my colleagues, my associates, my mentors, my friends. They're doing great jobs. Etch index for them is everything yet. Okay. Though what we need for the flourishment of the country, for the betterment of our people, is not our H index, is not our scientific impact, is not our ranking when it comes to the level of number of publications or the collective impact factor of the journal that you have published over the past 10 years. Okay, let's celebrate it. Iran is number 5, Iran is number 6, India is number 1. But at the end of the day, what matters is not the number of paper, is that how you're going to utilize that paper for the betterment of life of your people, of our people. So in answer to that question from our friend from Bangladesh, yeah, my friends, my colleagues, my mentors, my professors, they're doing great job for scientific advancements and scientific achievements in nanotechnology. But has nanotechnology brought a lot into the people's dinner table? Not yet. Okay, so has the nanotechnology brought a lot of comfort and welfare to the people of my country? Not yet. So we need to understand, we need to all learn in developing countries, not to be concerned about ourselves, but to concern about our people. So when we do some nanoscience, when we do some cognitive science, when we do some IT science, when biotechnology science, question is that going to add value to my people? Yes, let's do it. If it's not going to add value to my people, to the people of the world, let's skip that. Because the thing which is important is not me, it's us. Okay, it's all about us. I don't know to what extent you agree with me, but it's all about us. People in some developing countries, they're doing great job with their scientific achievements, but it's all about them. It's not about us. Let's make it about us, right?
Yes, yeah. So thank you. There is a question from Srinivasa Rao. He is asking, what are the precautionary measures to avoid brain death? And in case of brain death, mind is working or not? Please elaborate, sir.
So that's kind of a medical question, if I understood that right. So when we're talking about the brain death, this means that the brain is not functioning anymore, yet some of the other vital organs in the body, like the heart or the lungs or the cornea of the eye or the kidneys, they are still functioning. So we can use them, we can transplant them. So number one reason for the brain death is motor vehicle accidents. So the road traffic accidents are one of the main, you know, culprits for the increasing statistics on brain death because we have traumatic brain injuries and people will get trauma lesions at cortical level. So when the cortex is not working well, cognition is gone. So my awareness, my understanding of self and surrounding will be minimized or will be vanished. Okay. So the person wouldn't have any clear cognitive gain and cognitive loading of the surrounding information into his brain. But he's still breathing spontaneously. He's still having the urination. He has the sleep-wake cycle spontaneously. He has got some, the saliva. He's just, taking down the saliva, and they swallow. They are breathing, automatically, but they do not have any cognitive processing. Information is not being processed there. This means that the people with TBI or with accidents or whatever cause, they are a subject of the cortical mental state or the cortical state. So they are decorticated. In this case, the people are brain dead, but they are living like a vegetative life. By brain dead, we mean that they are cortically brain dead, all right? But from the bottom of the brain or the brainstem, they're still functioning. They have the autonomic functions in place. So they'll be living a vegetative life. And we need to take care of them as long as they would be able to survive, all right? But they do not have any cognitive self, as it appears. We don't know yet, but as neuroscience has proved so far, we know that they do not have any cognitive perception. But some other people, they might have the cortex, or they might have other areas of the brain at first place, but then they have a lesion to the brainstem. So they have nothing to generate as the automatic functions of the brain vital structures, the medulla, the pons, the brainstem. They are not working there. The cranial nerves are not there. So the person is literally brain dead from the vital areas, from the bottom of the brain. And by time when these areas are not working, then the cortex will dead, the whole brain will dead. Okay, but you can survive these patients by delivering oxygen to the brain, because by using some pumps or respirators or something, you can still salvage the vital organs like the heart, like the lung, and they are properly working, all right? But the brain is not there. So if you disconnect the person from the ventilator, the person will literally die, and the heart will stop, the lung would stop, everything will stop. But before that, you can just take the organs. If there is a consent from the family and the person beforehand, then you do the organ donation. For cell to society concept, this is also very important, because we can like do the salvage therapy for some people that they are suffering from end organ failure, and they have kidney failure, they have liver failure, they have respiratory failure, they have heart failure. All right. So when we have this vital organ in place from another person as an organ donor, and we're going to transplant this into another person, then we're adding life to the society. What we're dealing with are living cells. What we are serving, the society. So this, again, the concept of self to society, if you would agree with that. Is that right, Professor Kumar and Professor Laudet?
Yes, very much. Yeah, we absolutely agree. Yeah. So there is one more question from Priyam Nath. I think he wants to know about the COVID-19 times, whether the convergence of technologies like what we have been talking about, and then the congenitive science, can it solve or mitigate the crisis of COVID-19?
Yeah, absolutely. No one today, no one in the whole world is feeling safety and also certainty. So we're all living in a context of uncertainty, and the risk of getting infected would be this nasty virus, right? So it's everywhere. And the world is now having a challenge with the spreading virus all over the place. And it's not going to be the end of the story. When we have the vaccine, perhaps, okay, we get a control over the problem, but next year, the year after next year, and so on, we would still be at risk for this virus or other viruses coming to play. And many of the vaccines that they are already being developed, the investigators around the world, they are doing, because I'm also, part of the Indicasat in Panama with Professor Rao. I know that they are doing a lot of efforts in providing vaccine. In Iran also, they are doing some research on vaccine development. I have no doubt that in India, there are some brilliant scientists that they are doing the same efforts in developed countries as well. So what are they doing? They're using nanotechnology. Of course, they're doing information technology or computational biology approaches. They are also using the biotechnology, because that's going to be used for nanotechnological pharmaceuticals, or biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. And at the end of the day, they are going to find out if they are going to use this, will people get benefit from that from all different perspectives, neurological side effects, neurological values, psychological or psychobehavioral side effects or values. Because we have developed we have prepared a recent report with Professor Rao and some of my associates from Japan, from China, and from Panama, and I've been authoring that at first place. It has been accepted already, and that's going to be published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine, JCM. That'll be coming very soon. That will be coming out very soon, and that's about the neuropsychobehavioral aspects and burden of this COVID-19. So if we're talking about the cognitive neuromedicine, first, we got to understand what is there. And number two is that how we're going to modulate and how we're going to remediate this problem. In what ways we're going to prevent, predict, to approach in a personalized way, and to participate in people's well-being after COVID. Because COVID, post-COVID sequela, post-COVID mental health issues. We know many people that they are having issues with PTSD, with depression, anxiety, phobia. Okay, so they have phobias and they have OCD. So they got the COVID, they recovered, and now they are washing their hands thousands of times every day. Right? So there are cases with OCD and they are not feeling safe and they are depressed. They have overt anxiety. They have mixed anxiety depressive disorder. Okay, or MADD. They have other issues like affective issues. In children specifically, they come up with the oppositional defiant disorder symptoms. They come up with ADHD symptoms. They come up with weird behaviors or disorganized behaviors because of the anxiety they see in the eyes of the parents. And with the news, they turn on the TV and all the news pop up and they're all negative. Okay, so it's with us. We need to find a way and we need to tackle this problem the best way we can. But my advice to my colleagues here is that if we're going to use the converging technologies in the era of COVID-19, let's think about first 4 main fundamental questions. Number one, what is already known? Because we're not supposed to invent the wheel, okay? So if something is already known, we got to capitalize on it. Number two, what is yet to be explored and what are the unmet needs? Why do I need to do that? Because the why thing is more important than how thing, okay? Know why is critical, but know what is not critical. Know how is not critical, but know why is critical. So if we're utilizing this advanced technologies and converging science and technology, we got to think what is already known, what is yet to be explored, what are the unmet needs. Number 3 is that why I'm doing this, why we are doing this at Mizoram, at Shiraz University as a joint collaborator, why we're doing that. That's a know why thing. And number 4 is how we're going to do that. What are our resources? What is our objective? What are the steps? What are the resources we want? What is the timeline? How are we going to do that? What are the obstacles? How are we going to track and monitor our advancement in that project? So we can use nano people, bio people, cogno people, info people, and even sociologists, even ecologists to go for COVID-19 research projects. But got to be thinking about our resources and our capabilities, our human factor potentials, and our priorities. Because if I do something which is not prioritized at my context, at my level of societal needs, that's pointless perhaps, right? So I need to do something which is going to be ranked first or top priority at our countries. So I'm again fully in line with what you suggested, applying converging technologies and research in the age of COVID-19. But more important than that is that how we would do that, why we're going to do that, and let's think about it. Come up with the idea, and our colleagues and professor from Mizoram would share with us the idea. Whatever I can be assistance, my colleagues, my associates, and my professors there could be of assistance. You can count us in. We'd be very pleased for joint initiatives and shared research, especially on COVID-19. Are we good?
Yes, yes, Dr. Nabi. Yeah, thank you very much. So probably Professor Baby would like to now.
I have one question. So what about the high BP, high blood pressure, and its relevance for brain damage and brain cell death? And people who has got high blood pressure and frequent fluctuations of blood pressure from normal to little high range, that is, they get emotion and get blood pressure increases. So what is the consequential effect on the brain cell death?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's a wise point. We know that we have the autonomic control system. We have the control panel in our brain, which is the hypothalamic nuclei and the hypothalamic, set of nuclei, pair of nuclei in the brain. So in the midbrain, we have some specific key areas that they are in charge of producing and regulating the autonomic functions of our ANS, our autonomic nervous system. So the vagal tone is very important, and the vagal tone is going to receive is going to be modulated and regulated by the tone received by some neurotransmitter systems like GABA system and glycine system. So if we have a good GABA tone, and if we have a good parasympathetic tone by that, or vagal tone by that, so the cranial nerve number 10 would modulate the preload and afterload of the heart. So the heart will have a less, heart rate. The heartbeat number will be decreased, and by that, the heart rate variability will be increased. So by this, we mean that the heart will have the more parasympathetic drive. So by the parasympathetic drive or by vagal therapy, we can help the heart to beat in a more efficient way. The ejection fraction will be better, and also the vascular resistance will be decreased. Because what is the main reason for the vascular, narrowing? When we have the high blood pressure, we just narrow the caliber of the vessels, and by this the pressure will be high because we have the physical rule and equation for that. Okay, so when the adrenergic receptors, beta receptors and alpha receptors are on the surface of these vessels, so when they block these vessels, then we have the vasodilation. So by vasodilation, the blood pressure will decrease, will be normalized. So we have a term, Professor Rao, called neurogenic hypertension. And we have our psychology experts here. They know better than me that when people have got chronic stress, when the people have got PTSD, when the people are suffering from some kind of affective predicaments, sometimes they are not able to control the impulse. They have low level of cognitive flexibility potential. So they just, jump out of the wall very easily. And by that, they will decrease the level of vagal tone. So the vagal tone will decrease and the hypertension will be the case. So when we're going to help them increase their vagal tone by training them through meditation, yoga, by training them through some kind of acoustic beat therapy, by helping them maintaining the good lifestyle, by overcoming sleep problems, and by doing the CBT or psychoeducation of behavioral therapies and all different mindfulness-based cognitive therapies. So by this, they're going to have a better gain of control over their sympathetic and parasympathetic drive. So they learn how to come into a level of harmony. Not only the hypertension will get controlled, but all different functional parameters of our life.
In continuation, is stress-related emotions or blood pressure rise and hypertension release the blood pressure rise?
Absolutely, that's absolutely right.
I think stress-related one will have more effect on the brain damage. I'm correct?
That's totally correct, because years before, the neuroscientists started to change the whole paradigm of the HPA axis, because we have hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, all right? But the neuroscientists started to change this, and they said this is not the only parameter that we need to count in. It is cytokine hypothalamus pituitary adrenal cytokine axis. So it is CHPAC axis. Okay, so the both C's represent cytokines, and the cytokines are responsible for immune or inflammatory processes that they already come into play in our brains. So a bad news, the burden, economical issues, poverty, and emotional stress, betrayal, anything that we are facing every day. Okay, these are something that you're bringing up stress to our brain psychologically. And the common pathway for this activated system is cytokine. It's neuroinflammation. So my psychologist colleagues and experts would know clearly that all of these psychobehavioral problems have something to do with neuroinflammatory processes. So when we have neuroinflammation in place, then the functionality, the connectivity, the discourse between the neurals and circuits and systems, and also all different cognitive and behavioral constructs of the brain will get negatively affected, all right? So immunity, psycho, neuro, endocrinal, immunology. This is a paradigm.
Yes.
And it's,
Thank
so
you.
endocrinology is something you tapped into, and blood pressure is partly controlled by cortisol and by adrenergic parameters.
Yes. Thank you, Mohammed. I take I stop here. But next week, can we have a meeting on the exactly maybe around 23rd, 24th? Can we have a meeting that is only between our faculty and you? Psychology,
So what would you suggest that be, sir? What would you suggest that be next 3-4 days?
Date will be around 23rd or 22nd is fine for us.
23rd. Today is it 11th? So 23rd. Let me check my calendar. That'll be fine. So
you can confirm.
Any assignments.
You can confirm, no problem. You can confirm later.
And we agree through WhatsApp. You just send me a note, and then I will be very pleased to check everything and come back to you with positive, affirmative response. I would actually be very honored to, sir. This is something which is very important to me, to get to know brilliant people in another continent. We're here, you're there, but we are all connected. The most important thing is that
we'll discuss at length what kind of project we can propose. We'll discuss. Senthil is also there. So next week, you give your open that is free slot. We'll fix a meeting with our biotechnology, zoology, and psychology people. We'll have a meeting, all faculty, and I will share the Zoom link, same timing around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and we'll discuss about the collaborative project. You can also involve your physiology and other people also if you want. You can involve your university, other faculty, and we'll have a meeting for collaborative research works. Okay?
I would say 100% absolutely well. Sure.
Thank you very much. And I think I will leave it to Baby and Senthil.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Love,
Thank you.
we're
Thank you,
gonna
sir.
close. Yeah.
I will say no more because it's almost 2 hours now.
Yeah,
And
we've been over
we
time, I know.
have a lot of, things to talk about, like humor, like language, speed of language. How is it related to cognitive processing speed and
Many
humor
things.
and
Yeah, we got many
coming.
things to
So,
discuss.
thank you so much again, sir.
I thank you. I'm a person who needs to thank you for this opportunity, and that was a pleasure to listen to your advice, comments, and also listen to the questions that people brought up. And also, I was very pleased to share little things that I had in mind with you. So it's always great to get into contact and collaboration with a whole bunch of new decent people. I'm very pleased for that. And Professor Kumar, thank you again for all the inputs that you made. We're going to do a lot together, right?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You
Take care.
too.
Take care. Bye-bye. Take
Bye.
care. Thanks.